Welcome aboard, everybody. It is Monday, February 1st, and it is another episode of Let There Be Talk, a brand new episode, number 576. Coming to you today from Joshua Tree. I'm out in the desert, decompressing, and about to celebrate my 55th birthday on Wednesday. So I thought, can't do the tribute to Bon Scott this year due to COVID, which I usually do around my birthday. And what am I going to do? Well, let's go out to the desert, my favorite place to go. So I'm out here enjoying some architecture, some desert, some food, and it's all right. It is all right. Great guest today. Of course, you've been with me probably for years, a lot of you, and I've talked to you about tons of new music over the years, and it's one of my favorite things to do. There's nothing better. It's like panning for gold. You're out there, you're looking around, somebody tells you about a group, a band, a singer, a songwriter, or you accidentally hear it somewhere in a coffee shop or at a party, wherever. There's no better feeling than discovering one of your new favorite acts. And that happened for me a few months back. I was talking to Sadler Vaden on the podcast about how records just seem to be too long these days with 14, 15 songs. And I miss the days of the old 8-song, 10-song records that were just tight, filled with great songs, and I miss that. When somebody sent over this record to me, I wish I could remember who it was, sorry, but they emailed me and said, check out this record. And I looked at it, it had 8 songs, and it was by a guy named Neal Francis that I had not heard of before. And it was his debut record, came out in 2019, called Changes. He's out of Chicago. I put it on, and immediately I was like, I'm in. And you all know that I love what I call soul rock, meaning a fantastic vocal, usually over a smoking blanket of B3. He has got all the flavor. He has great songs, great voice. He's an excellent keyboard player, and he's a great dude. It was really cool to talk to him. He has had an up and down battle in life, like a lot of us, and it's great to hear him get on here and be honest about it. And I'm looking forward to his new record coming out pretty soon. Great artist. Get with it. It is Neal Francis, Neal Francis. That's on iTunes, and the record is called Changes. You can also order it on his website or hit him up on Instagram. I can't wait for you guys to hear this music. You're going to really, really dig it. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's been listening to my second podcast, The Grail with Dean Del Rey, on iTunes, and now it's on Google Play, I believe, Libsyn, and a few other spots out there. It was in the top 10 last week, so I'm very happy about that people are digging this kind of passion project that I have of featuring all kinds of artists and makers out there in the world. Thank you for checking that out. If you've not checked it out yet, it is the Grail podcast with Dean Del Rey, and please leave a review and subscribe to it. It really helps. You can also hear it on my YouTube channel. I do have the Patreon channel. We just did bonus episode 99. If you join up, you can join me once a week on the Zoom Fest. I do a Zoom every week and just talk to everybody. We get down into records and books and movies, whatever we want to talk about every week. And I also do a bunch of bonus episodes and photos on there and cool stuff. Check it out, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Brand new Patreoner, Annalyn Camacho. Thank you for joining on. And the king of the Del Raisers, Mark Brunot, coming through with a solid donation to the podcast. I want to thank all of you for your support over all these years. I know I say it a lot, but I mean it. I truly do mean it. I love doing this podcast for you guys, and I love this kind of stuff, turning you on to new music. Enjoy it, and keep the candles lit. 55 candles for the old Del Rey on Wednesday, February 3rd, the day the music died. Let's get into it right here. Mr. Neal Francis. Looking good there with the Topo Chico shirt. You better. Oh, dude, that's my... Look, man, that's... All right, let's see if you can see it. There you go.
Dude, hell yeah.
That's the
repping
official,
the breads.
That is the official drink of the sober man.
Dude, yes. Yes, and too much coffee.
Yeah. You got to balance it out, you know?
Oh, man, I am not on the balance with that right now.
I switched to decaf a couple years ago.
Good for you, dude. That's a good idea.
You know why? I absolutely love the taste of coffee, good coffee. Mm-hmm. But being a comedian, and you know this as a musician, you're just out all night. And by the time it's around midnight, throughout the day, you've had about 10 cups of coffee.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. And then you're cooking, and you're so immune to it that you can sleep on it. But you're not really getting that good REM sleep.
No, it's some mild addiction, man. It's nowhere near as destructive as some of the other things, but it's real. Yeah,
it's definitely not. You're not going to end up sucking dick on a street corner.
Maybe though.
I got a bit where I say, people are addicted to their phones, and I always think like it's such a sad addiction. I couldn't imagine like I need that charger, man. Let me get that charger.
Yeah, right.
How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, man.
I got to tell you, I hadn't heard of you until about 3 weeks ago. And that's the beauty of music. And, the people that say there's no good music, there's so much good music, I think, right now.
I agree.
I think it's incredible. But I had on Sadler Vaden, who's the guitar player for Jason Isbell, and he has a fantastic record out. And we got into this conversation how records are too long these days, 15 songs. And somebody sent me over your record, said, here's a good short record. And wow, 8 songs, killer.
Dude, I love 8 songs, man. Double LPs that are great all the way through are rare. Tommy by The Who, of course, is very formative for me. Exile on Main Street is another one right off the top of my head. But yeah, usually a lot of, records I love that, there's skip tracks. I'm trying not to have skip tracks. But at the same time, I'm also, this next record I'm working on, we just cut 12 tracks. We finished up tracking 4 days ago. And we're going to release 10 on the record and probably have some interstitial music connecting the tracks. But
I love that, like interludes.
I'm pumped, yeah, man. Might like tag onto the end of a track, but very short, concise.
Yeah. Now, where are you at? You're out in Chicago?
Yes.
And were you born and raised out there?
Raised, but not born.
Right.
Dad's from here. We moved here when I was about 6 months, and grew up in Oak Park, which is the first suburb west of the city.
Yeah, I think I did there's a comedy club out there.
Yeah, there's a couple spots near Oak Park. Oak Park's kind of like up until recently was a dry town. So
oh wow.
Yeah, it's like a holdover from Prohibition era. Frank Lloyd Wright and Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, Frank Lloyd Wright. It's funny. I'm obsessed with architecture, and there's a website, Frank Lloyd Wright's for sale, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
yeah. So they're all over America, but I'd say 70% of them are in Chicago, and I don't want to live out there because of the weather, you know. But
Well,
man, there's some good ones out there.
yeah, man. There's some good ones. You're in LA, right?
Yeah, fantastic ones here, but they're $7 to $10 million. You can get
Yeah.
one on the outskirts of Chicago for 700,000.
I got the Charles Ennis House block right here.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
an LA one.
yeah. Oh yeah. I know the guy that owned that and just sold it.
Oh,
And
no shit.
yeah, Ron Burkle, he was a billionaire.
Right on.
His story's insane. He was a bagger at a grocery store, saved his money, bought the grocery store, and then carried on and bought the entire chain of grocery stores.
Whoa.
Later buying, I believe, the EMI publishing company.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and I think he was one of the guys that loaned like Michael Jackson money. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is very synchronous so far.
Yeah, so he bought that house for I think they wanted like 10 million. But those blocks that you're holding in your hand were eroding and it needed millions and millions and millions of dollars of work. And
Yeah.
he said, "Look, I'll buy it for like 4 million and do the restoration."
Is that what he did then?
That's what he did, and he restored all those blocks.
Dude, when did he buy it? Because I toured the Ennis house when it was owned by it was open to the public at one point prior to him purchasing it, I'm sure.
Right.
But I was probably 14 or 15. This is
Oh yeah,
you know.
he bought it like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
display about the work that needed to be done on the property. Yeah, that's a flaw of Frank Lloyd Wright's architecture, as you know. It's just
Yeah.
ambitious design engineering.
I think it's one of the greatest houses ever built. It's, a lot of people like the Waterfall House, but I think that house, of course, it's being featured in Blade Runner and some other films, but just the location is the greatest neighborhood in LA, Los Feliz. And then the hill that it sits on, and then just the inside with the furniture that comes with it, because he builds all the furniture also.
Yeah, man. It's a work of art.
It really is. It is. Can you imagine living in there and recording records? Oh,
Dude, that's a lofty dream for sure. Yeah, I grew up down the street from his home and studio. I gave tours there at his home and studio in Oak Park, and huge fan of. I went to school for architecture as well.
oh wow. I'm talking to the right guy then, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm nuts on it. I love Lautner's. I love, I love the case study stuff, all that stuff. And recently have really been into the Eichlers and that whole history of these amazing homes that this guy Eichler put together. He wasn't an architect. He built neighborhoods that he wanted multicultural and races and to live together. And he built these insane houses that are just
Where's that?
that they're all over. So a lot of them are up south of San Francisco. And then there's some here in the Valley in Los Angeles. And I'll send them over to you. And then watch the little mini doc on them. I think it's called People That Live in Glass Houses.
What time period?
Mid-century.
Cool.
And they were built to be not that much money. And now, of course, they go for millions. And everybody wants one. But they're beautiful, man. And I'm obsessed with it. I think it's something that artists and musicians and comedians have where you don't want to live the same life as everybody and you don't want to live in the same type of house as everybody.
Man, you know what you just made me think of? I'm sure you can relate to this, but because you crisscross the country with is just the lack of architecture.
Oh, it's crazy.
Just the endless sprawl. I was just talking to I live in a church and I play here on Sundays, and that's a whole nother story. But I was talking to the guy who sings, and he was like, "Yeah, I went to Portage, Indiana, and it was like it was cool and everything. You know, my boyfriend lives, his family's from there, and he was like, yeah, it was cool and everything, but you know, they do everything on the strip mall. You know, like fast food and all that. And it's like I'm not trying to, you know, knock the people who that's all they have access to, but it's like, man, I think that there used to be so much more in this country, and there could be so much more. That's for sure. I mean, like, just as far as you know, what we're missing.
Yeah, man. I mean, there was somewhere along the way that people lost their way. And I think that has a lot to do with, there was weird things like people wanting to move out of the cities as they got dirty, they thought, and they wanted safety with and then the track home thing boomed because people wanted to move out, and they didn't really care what it looked like. They just wanted safety, I guess, out of that weird paranoia, you know. And now everybody wants to live back in the cities. Well, not because of COVID, but pre-COVID, everybody found, let's just live in the cities so we don't have to commute. And they've got cooler places like lofts and, you know, old Spanish houses and stuff like that. So it goes up and down, but they did sell their soul, America, a long time ago. And it comes down to that Gap cotton Docker, you know, I don't care what I wear. This is just my uniform, you know, that whole thing. It's wild.
Yeah, man, we could talk for hours about that. Yeah, yeah.
So you're living in a church. Does that have anything to do? Because I did do some research on you, and I guess you hit rock bottom pretty hard before you did this Changes record in 2019. So does it have anything to do with that?
Well, I mean, in a grand sense, yeah, I think so. Right, you're a sober guy as well, right?
I'm not a sober guy. I just stopped partying years ago.
Okay, cool.
I just figured it out. Like, to me, I always said partying was a kid's thing to do.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. I mean,
you know?
Yeah, you know, it's been almost 5 years. The way I ended up here was like I got this gig because a friend of mine who's also sober, went to high school with him. He's like, you know, I'm playing at this church. I'm moving to New York. Can you take over? And so I got the gig from him and was just playing here on Sundays. Very small congregation. You know, I don't really consider myself to be denominational as far as it goes, but, you know, liberal Christian church. And I had a really bad breakup like exactly a year ago, and I was on tour at the time. I was exhausted, and I was confronted with this avalanche of negative shit, and just I had to get out of my apartment fast. I realized that the parsonage of this church, where the pastor usually lives, was vacant, and I asked, you know, the church council lady who runs this place, you know, is there a possibility of me staying there? And she put it in front of the council members, and they said yes. And I've been here for a year, and it's been incredible, man. It's just like the space available, and just the growth I've made as a musician, and just it's pretty cosmic, man. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know where to start. It's pretty weird. You were talking about unique places to live. This is such a trip.
Yeah, I got a friend who moved into an old church. It's no longer a church. All Them Witches, that band. And
sweet.
Yeah, and he moved into it, and they just record and live in this. He lives in the church, but the band records and rehearses in there, and it's their compound. You know?
That's what's up. That's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing, man.
Were you a religious guy growing up? Was your family that kind of thing?
Yeah, for sure. Catholic. Went to Catholic school 9 years and had a whole, you know, arc with that. Kind of lost any connection with spirituality throughout that, even before getting into booze and drugs. And then, eventually kind of rekindled that when I got off the sauce, and it's more of a amorphous general spirituality, buffet spirituality, if you will.
Yeah. And then you play music in there on Sundays for the congregation?
Yep. And play piano and organ, and it's a great gig, man.
That's cool, man. And do you get to live there free?
For in exchange for my services, and
That's great.
it's pretty rad, man. I'm so grateful.
Wow.
Especially during this it was I didn't know how long it was going to last initially. It was like I pitched it as a very temporary thing, and of course we were supposed to be playing 150 shows this year, and shit hit the fan. This was really a blessing to have a place to stay.
I have this thing that I love, and you fall in the category over the years, and it'll grab me right away, is a thing that I call soul rock.
Right on, man.
Yeah, and there's people out there that do it, and when they do it well, it grabs me, and I'm like deep down in. I know what the person or the group is doing, and I'm on board. Marcus King does a lot of kind of soul rock.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, really good. St. Paul and the Broken Bones is doing their kind of R&B Commitments kind of soul rock.
The Commitments, man.
Yeah, it's some good shit back there, man.
Yeah,
that's taking it way back.
Dude, I have not heard anybody say that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
It's smoking, and that singer could sing the shit out of stuff, man. When he does Try a Little Tenderness, it's on.
For sure.
What a vocal. But over the years and years and years of listening to music, I'd say once every 5 years or something, a record comes out by that kind of flavor, and I'm like, oh, yeah, and I'm in. And so somebody sent me this record 3 weeks ago when I was talking about short records, and the first song comes on this time, and I immediately go, oh, I know what this is going to be. This is going to be good. And by the time that I got How Have We Lived, the horn solos and stuff on that song, I'm like, this is on, man. I mean, the horns really light up this record, and I'm a huge keyboard fan. I love clavinet, and I love B3 more than anything, Fender Rhodes. So to hear all these flavors and then some great songs included, so then it's a bonus. You could do all this and it just be rehashed R&B, and I'm not interested in that. But you got great songs, which is fantastic.
Thank you, man. I'm glad that you're a fan. Seriously.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32.
Just turned 32.
So were you growing up on different music other than classic rock? Did you get into grunge or anything, or was it always just pretty much right here?
I mean, I had some contemporary tastes, just from friends of mine, but mostly my taste was informed from my dad's record collection growing up, which was like, very meat and potatoes, 70s, just like, Stevie Wonder, The Who, Stones, Beatles. But I was grateful that, he did have quite an eclectic collection once he dug in there. And he taught me how to use the turntable at an early age. And so I was just kind of in there kicking around. My mom played piano a little bit, started teaching me piano, started putting two and two together. I was really big into I loved musicals too, like Jesus Christ Superstar and Phantom of the Opera. And then, Of course, Tommy was like a synthesis of those things. I saw that movie when I was probably 7, and that kind of blew my mind, AKA ruined me, so.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing, Song Remains the Same.
Yeah.
John Paul Jones play No Quarter.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that sound, And I was on board right away. And of course, Stevie with the clavinet.
Oh, yeah.
All of that. That sound is It's so amazing. I've said it over and over how different a band can be with fantastic keyboards. Take, say, the Black Crowes, Their first record is, kind of Faces, Stonesy, but by the time they get into the second record with all the B3 stuff and Ed Hirsch and all that, then it's like, whoa, this is it makes it more than just rock and roll.
It fills a lot of real estate, and those are the bands that taught me to play, like Billy Preston playing with the Stones,
or 75.
His solo stuff was a huge influence. Billy Preston, that is, and
I love that Outer Space.
Oh man, one of the greatest tracks of all time, man. That track won a Grammy, if you can believe it too. Like that's just indication of how times changed. Yeah, instrumental song of the year, which I don't even know if it's still a category, but
yeah. Imagine Billy Preston winning a Grammy. Now you wouldn't even know if somebody won an instrumental Grammy of the year.
True.
That'd be done. That'd be done on the Tuesday before the show on Sunday.
Dude, I'm crossing my fingers for the instrumental Grammy next year, man.
Yeah.
Low hanging fruit.
Fucking great, man. So when you hit rock bottom and stuff, you're kind of sitting around, and then you just start to write this record and pull yourself out of the ashes.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it wasn't really like a calculated plan, just as much as just getting kind of lifted and taking the suggestions of the other sober people around me that I'd been connected with. Like I ended up, my neighbor was sober, and like he kind of read me the riot act one day when he saw me out there like on crutches, drunk and smoking a cigarette, and like he was out there smoking a cigarette, but he was like, yeah man, here's what it is, man. Like he kind of like saw through. I was trying to bullshit him, and I didn't know the guy, but he became a mentor to me. And like from then on, I didn't gig for like 6 months, which wasn't really a problem because nobody was really calling me anymore. And
you burned all the bridges.
Yeah, dude, it's like I wasn't showing up for shit. And then I was working at like UPS store, which is like a really great job for just thinking about other shit while you're at work. And so that's sort of when I'm sort of like planning what the fuck am I gonna do? I've got to do something,
Yeah, UPS store was your rock bottom.
Well, shit, man. I mean, that gig was butter. If it like, between that and playing weddings, I was paying my rent. I was squirreling money away to, do these recording sessions, and somehow it all worked out. Like I said, I didn't really even. It's before I had a manager to like hold my hand and help me balance a budget and shit, but like just worked out. I feel like it was miraculous.
I mean, that's cool that you got a manager, because you don't have the stereotypical record of a manager that would hear it and go, oh yeah, this guy's going to be big. He's going to have some hit singles and stuff. This is more like the love of art, of music, and the understanding of the old school of we make records here, not singles, and we're doing something that we love. So to have a manager to be able to be on board on that too is an amazing person,
Oh, he is an amazing person. That's like this whole thing is just, cosmic, because, he's an artist as well. Came up with his own band right now, and spent 10 years trying to make that happen, and then was like shifting gears, looking to manage artists, and we crossed paths in a very synchronous way and established that we were acquainted from long before. He's from like the town over. He loved the tunes that I had been working on, and he believed in me, and he had the business acumen that I lacked, and so it was really like a perfect symbiotic relationship. And there's been a lot of moments where he's carrying the team and vice versa, and we're always there to lift each other up, because there's a lot of, as you know, in entertainment industry is just like shit gets dark sometimes, and be the optimist, and that's like Brendan to a T, man. He's a father. He's a wonderful husband to his wife Yvette. He's just a great friend.
Yeah, he's a hustler, man. He was even on me. I do all this myself,
You got a little taste. You got a little taste.
Yeah, he was chasing me down like, hey, you got that Zoom link? And hey, we on this and stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, because I had done 8 podcasts last week, and I was just kind of like, oh, man, I got to get around. And then I set it up, and then I had the chainsaw guy in the out front on Friday.
He told me about that. That's hilarious, man.
Oh, dude, I let him hear it, too. It was like, at like 10 in the morning. And I looked outside and I go, oh, these guys are going to be here for hours. They're just chainsawing all the old dead leaves off these palm trees on my street. And I was like, oh, nightmare, So, yeah, he's definitely a good guy. When you go to LA to record this record last year, you did the record yourself, right? With your own money?
Yeah. So that was like, went out and did 4 recordings the first time, and that was sort of like that became like a document to sort of attract interest. And again, it wasn't really even engineered that way. It's like, all right, I got these songs, I have the means to do them. I'm gonna make this happen, and then had those in the bag. Started showing them to a few people I knew in the industry, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Like I was able to get a small investment stake from a guy I knew, which we were able to pay back when we signed with Coal Mine eventually. Really just the first time in my life I did anything myself, and that's only because I wasn't drinking. I manipulated everybody in my life up until that point, for money, for booze, for what have you. So yeah, it's crazy that it seemed to still be working out. But, I'm learning. And
yeah, man, you're about to do it. You've been recording your second record. Is it more of the flavor like changes, this record here?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked, because it's like interesting for me to articulate. Like it's a very different record, but it's the thread is my love of, music of that time period and the production of that time period. I want it to have a warm, classic analog sound. So we did all of the tracking to tape.
Awesome.
And
2-inch?
Well, actually, no, I got a 1/4-inch tape machine and a 1/2-inch.
Are you recording in the church, in your house there?
Yeah, so I'm sitting in the de facto control room, and used to be the dining room of the parsonage. Downstairs is the live room, and we've got like a snake running through the laundry chute, and it's pretty dope, man. Like the basement is all wood paneling, and it's got like a drop acoustical tile ceiling.
Yeah.
So it actually sounds really good in there. My buddy Mike brought all of his outboard gear over. Like you can see like the
wow
compressors and all that shit.
Oh, so, yeah. Look at that, huh? You've just taken over the church. I love it.
Yeah. And I'm just like, this is beyond anything I could have. If I had been like 5 years ago when I got sober, and I'm like, okay, 5 years from now, I'm going to live in a church and I'm going to set it up like a studio. It's like, that just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's just like, you have those visions of grandeur, but it's never as good as what you end up getting if, I don't know, in my experience, I'm just putting one foot in front of the other.
Well, that thing that people may think is cheesy, where, say, the AA thing of like, when you quit partying, life is going to get better.
Yeah.
People are like, whatever. But, I haven't partied in, I don't know, since I think 92 or something, and my life has just been fantastic. And I enjoy it, especially when I started comedy like 10 years ago, being clean up on stage, the amount of feelings and electricity I feel when I step on of like freaking out, nervous, confident. All these different things are electric in your body, and you don't feel that when you're just loaded. You know, I used to just drink and do blow and shit, go on stage, and you wouldn't even get to enjoy that natural high of being on stage,
Totally, man.
which is so amazing. When you're up there, you're like, you're in it. You're like, wow, I am in this right now.
It's the best thing there is, man.
It is. It really is, man. You know? And you know, a lot of people always ask me, like, how do you do it? Like, I quit sugar like 4 years ago, and I just go, oh, you just have to do it. I mean, you can't, I mean, you can go to clinics and programs and all that. You yourself has to, you know, commit to it. Like, fuck it, I'm doing this, you know?
Yeah, man. And it's just one of those things, like, I wouldn't have even chosen it for myself. It just kind of, I feel like still it's like it was a gift, because I was ready to keep on drinking, you know, even though I had run out of money, and
yeah.
you know, I just spent my last $3.50 on a 6-pack of hams, and like, just.
I mean, we all, you know, I don't know. I went through that phase of reading Bukowski and rolling around.
Oh, dude, me too. Fuck,
yeah.
Dude, that shit is so crazy.
You're like, I'm a writer, man, and you're just day drinking, and you know, I'm in Murray's trophy room in Haight Street and shooting people, and you know,
dude, that's so funny, man.
With Nick Cave, Red Right Hand playing in the background, and
you think you're so cool, man.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm an artist, man. You know, so fucking cliche. You know.
At least Bukowski managed to write some shit, which was beyond what I was able to do. Oh man, I found a notebook full of some shit I was writing when I was in my Bukowski phase. It's just atrocious, man. It's like at least scary, dude.
Yeah. I think every artist kind of goes through those thinking, I mean, you got, you know, you walk on the tightrope. You get into the dark caves just to see if there's any bats in there, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get out of it and you just go, all right, well, I've got a lot of memories of all kinds of different stuff. I've, you know, drinking, drugging, sober, you know, everything.
Yeah, man.
And they all become lyrics or jokes, you know, by living your life.
I feel like there's such a kinship between comedians and musicians, man. I really get a lot out of, I've always been a huge fan of stand-up, and I love listening to people talk about that craft, because it's probably like the most naked art form. It just seems like it would be terrifying to me. I have such an admiration for people who do that, because, you know, at least I'm up on stage. You know, I'd never be up on stage just singing a cappella.
Right.
You know, off the cuff. Like, here, I'm going to make up a song right now. Like, that would never happen. I at least have my, you know, my instrument at the very least. You know, play myself off, you know, if something goes awry.
I played music for 25 years. So, you know, put out records and shit. And so people go like, what's it like to do comedy? You know, because that's how I started the podcast. Mm-hmm. The whole idea was I'm going to interview my musician friends, and at the end, I'll ask them if they ever wanted to be a comedian, because that's the thing. They always say musicians want to be comedians and comedians want to be musicians.
Yeah.
So they asked me, what's it like to do comedy? And I go, you remember that first time you're in the recording studio and the producer soloed up your vocal? Well, there it is. That's what it's like to do comedy. The whole room's looking at you, and you're hearing you sing out of tune. You know?
Yeah, right.
That's what comedy's like. You're soloing up the vocal. You know? Fucking nuts, man. What, you know, Chicago, huge comedy town, but what kind of comedians are in? I mean, you look a little bit like Mitch Hedberg, which is funny.
I've gotten that a bunch. So, yeah, I saw a bunch of Mitch specials on TV growing up, but, like, I love Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks, dude.
Richard Pryor, of course, you know, Chappelle was, he had the show when I was growing up. Carlin, of course,
You
and
into Marin at all?
Oh, I love Marin, man. Big fan of his podcast as well, and then list goes on from there. I was huge into Monty Python too, man, and all that like weird
British stuff.
British, yeah.
Yeah, I had
Huge
Les
into that.
Claypool on the show. He loves that stuff. I never got into Monty Python. It just I get it, but you know what I mean. Some of the British humor, I'm more into the edgier stuff. So of course, Bill Hicks and Carlin and Chappelle, and you know that I like the and then I like the weird stuff of like Andy Kaufman. You know, I mean
Oh, he's awesome, man.
that kind of shit I could never do. I'm not that type of comedian. But there's guys here in LA that there's 4 of them that have won the Kaufman Award. There's like a Andy Kaufman Award, and they're not like Kaufman, but I call them Kaufman-esque, where it's totally outside the box. You know, they're not
Dig.
there for the laughs. They're there for the ride, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Where, you know, Norm Macdonald, one of my favorite comedians.
Oh, I love Norm Macdonald,
Yeah.
man.
Norm always says, you know, half the room's getting it and the other half is kind of like, what the fuck did we pay for? And I love that tension when I'm in a room and I've got that kind of crowd going. I had that Friday night. I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, some of you are getting this and the other are like, what the fuck? And I think that's better than anything.
Man, I feel like I'm doing a Andy Kaufman routine up there sometimes, not by choice or design.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah,
just-
because of the type of music you're playing, and people might be just a fucking turn on the radio type of people, and then they're looking at you like, hey, do you know any Beyonce? You know?
Oh, sure I do.
Yeah.
I've played in wedding bands long enough, but
Yeah.
man, yeah, dude, I feel like making people laugh is that there's nothing like if I speak in between songs and it's been getting more comfortable, but anytime you can I'm just trying to crack up the guys in the band, so anytime it lands with the audience is like one of the most satisfying things
Of course.
you can ever feel, man. I can
Yeah.
see how you get addicted to that.
I remember Jacob Dylan once, he told me, he goes, well, I knew you were always going to be a comedian because you had a good in between songs. You could really
Griffin.
And he goes, at one point, the stuff in between the songs was better.
Dude, wow.
He was joking because he's one of the funniest guys I know, but it's true. It's funny. You know, people go, hey, you miss music. And I go, no, I love comedy more than anything I've ever done. So I found my calling the long way. You know?
Where are you gigging these days?
Shit, man. Nowhere as for 6 months straight until about 4 weeks ago, and then kind of outlaw type of pop-up shows and stuff.
Yeah,
But
I feel you. Same.
It's gnarly. It's gnarly. There's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like that movie Flash Dance, or what was the one where you weren't allowed to dance in the town?
Dude, man.
forget
With
what that's-
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah,
and
that
John
one.
Lithgow?
Yeah, it's like that. Where
Fuck, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Footloose.
Footloose, yeah.
I've played
it's-
that song a million
Yeah.
times.
Footloose, Kenny Loggins, right? It's fun. We're living in Footloose now. Where you
Yeah.
can sneak off places and you just do like a quick Facebook blast or something of, here's the address, see you in an hour. Pop-ups, you know?
I'll take it
I
at
will.
this point.
Oh, God. Yeah, right. It was getting dark here at my house, man. 6 months of working. Ooh, brutal. You know, at least you can record, you know?
And you know what? I was glad we were able to pull that together. And that's another, gotta give it to Brendan for, he's like, yeah, we can do this, you know, we can do it the right way. Fortunately, in Chicago, it's really easy to get tested for free rapidly.
That's great.
So, we all just multiple times got tested. So we were all, able to know that we could get together and make out as soon as we got here. And
Did you say make out?
Yeah. We all got in the pile and just
Yeah, I was like,
got the
wait a
vibe
minute,
together.
what?
Yeah. It's a very different kind of record, man.
I love it. I love it, man. Fucking just ballads. It's like just ballads and making out.
Yeah, man. Like our producer from the first record flew in from LA, and he had some health concerns last year that didn't necessarily tie in with anything that would be affected by COVID, but just take every precaution, and we could then feel like we weren't doing anything cavalier,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
when's the record going to be coming out?
Well, I have no idea. It's kind of not up to me, but I hope to have the record ready for mix by mid-November. So we have all the band tracking done, and I'm going to jump into overdubs and vocals here.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Now you play piano on the it's your thing and everything, but your main thing would be piano, right? Are you set up kind of like a Leon Russell or something on the side, or a Greg Allman, or how's it set up live?
So lately we've been like our last tour, we started setting up in a very tight formation because there were a couple stages where we were opening act and we just had to fit inside like a 12 by 12 square, and we found out that we really loved that because we can hear the amps and just feel like feel the Leslie speaker and feel the the amp peg and everything, and so I set up kind of center right, and then drums behind me, and then the bass and guitar real tight, and bass is almost behind me too. So we're just like on top of each other. It's
And what's your primary instrument? Is it B3 or?
Yeah, I play a Hammond organ and a clavinet, and then we bring a CP70 with as well.
Oh yeah, rad. Man, is the B3 chopped down in a box or?
It's a stock 1963 A100 with I got a dolly for it, so that's how we get it in and out of places with stairs and shit. But
whoa,
it's awesome, man.
I toured with the B3, man. I know it.
Dude, you know them.
Oh, my B3 player was the master of getting people to help him, and then he would stand back and watch them.
Oh, that's not me, man.
Yeah, you got that, man. You got that. Yeah. Oh, watch it, man. Pick it up a little more. Oh, he was a magician with that.
You gotta have the right group of guys, man.
Yeah.
They have to be committed to tone.
Oh my God, right? Yeah.
Process of tone, man.
I love the B3, buddy.
Nothing like it.
There's nothing like it, man. And so on the record, is it a lot more B3 or clav on this one, or is it just a mixture all the way through?
This record is a lot of piano.
Rad.
A lot of synthesizer and a lot of just all classic keys. So yeah, there's clav, there's organ, there's vintage synths.
Oh, rad.
I got a Moog D.
Oh, sick.
And a Juno 6.
Juno 6.
Yeah, man, an ARP string ensemble. And Korg actually set me up with a Prologue 16 synthesizer, and that's a classic analog synth in its own right, So I've been utilizing all of those. Now is like the fun part where I'm just putting the finishing touches on everything, and I'm really thrilled with how it sounds. I'm really excited.
I'm such a Gary Newman freak,
Dude, yeah.
Come on.
Dude.
Fucking.
Come on.
Guy is fantastic.
So ahead of his time, man.
Oh, my God. Even his last record that came out a couple of years ago, it's like, there's no 9 Inch Nails without Gary Newman.
Totally, man.
And,
Pleasure Principle was...
and the shit he does with the synthesizers is just unreal. That guy's just fantastic. And early Devo, and then of course Kraftwerk is completely my super addiction.
Holy Grail tone.
Yeah, holy grail tone, dude. I'm looking forward to that, and when it comes out, let's get you back on and pump that record. And I wanted to have you on because I love this record, and I've only had it for a couple weeks, but I'm way into it, and there's great songs, and I like what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to hear more, and hopefully see you live one day. You know?
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to being out in LA again, man. Get a hang together, and
Yeah, hit me when you come out, man.
you got an LP coming your way, and really, really appreciate this chat, man. It's been a great time.
Absolutely, and get my info from your manager there, and let's hang when you come out for sure. Play me the record, and
Hell yeah.
and come see some comedy. You
Yeah, I
know?
want to catch a set, man.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
All right, you got an Instagram or anything? You do that stuff?
Yeah, Neal Francis Music on Instagram, streaming on all platforms. Buy the record on our website.
God, this record's good, man.
Thank you, man.
Really good, dude. I love the songs. The song "Changes" 1 and 2. That's my favorite on it. You know,
Mine
that
too.
comes on. Just gives me this thing of like 70s Curtis Mayfield kung
Thank
fu.
you, man.
You know, love
Hell yeah.
that.
Chicago
Kung
guy.
fu. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so underrated.
Oh man, he's one of the greats. And if you like Curtis Mayfield, you should check out Isaiah Sharkey's most recent record.
Oh yeah.
He plays with John Mayer on guitar, and he plays
yeah.
with D'Angelo
Oh,
on guitar.
I love D'Angelo.
But his solo record's incredible.
Wow.
And he's really on a lot of the tracks. He's obviously influenced by D'Angelo a lot, but he's also very, very into Curtis. That's his like hero. Plays
John
with the
Mayer's
Curtis tuning.
fantastic, man.
Oh man, his band is slamming.
I've been on that Born and Raised record for almost a year now, nonstop. It's just
What a songwriter, man.
It's taken over my Carole King tapestry for Sundays, you know?
Dude, wow. That's saying a lot.
Yeah. Well, I played tapestry for 40 years on Sundays.
Wearing out your copy.
Yeah, and I'll still roll it, but man, I put on Born and Raised. It's Sunday around here, you know? But I'll check that out. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
Isaiah
Sharkey.
All right, I'm on that.
Yeah, we'll get it together on email, man.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, man, and congrats and on being alive, buddy, for real.
Thank you, Dean. Likewise, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man, and I will see you soon.
See you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care.
See ya.